And then Deacon Blues is going to be Cory Booker.
Yep, 7:30. Oh, hi. We've got company. Hi, guys. How are you?
Ah!
Welcome to Monday. It's September 23rd. This is Up North News Radio. I'm Pat Kreitlow, putting all of our bits and bobs together. We've got company today. We'll be playing an interview with New Jersey Senator Cory Booker that we did heading into the weekend. Kristen Lyerly will be here. Salina Heller will be here. Meteorologist Brittany Merlot, Greg Bach. So a lot of ground to cover. One of the biggest Brewers comebacks ever, a Packer victory. Plenty of weekend headlines to share with you on this Monday morning, first full day of fall. The program gets started at 6:06 across the Civic Media Radio Network. We will see you in 4 minutes.
Across Wisconsin from Civic Media, this is Up North News Radio. Now, live from our Lake Minnesota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Brightlow.
Well, hey there, Wisconsin. Good morning. It's 6:06 on this Monday morning, September 23rd, 2024. 43 days till Election Day. Or is it really here already? We'll explain. It's another beautiful morning to have you here up north, live from Lake Wissota, from wherever you're listening across the Civic Media Radio Network, on the Civic Media app, on demand by podcast, or through some social media video feeds. Thanks for starting your day right here. I've got a question for you. Are you, Greg Bach, are you ready to pumpkin spice the heck out of this season? Are you ready for, it doesn't matter, fall's here. But are you ready? Are you ready to pumpkin spice this season?
I mean, I don't feel like I have the choice, but, hey, let's do it, Pat. I'm a guy who just yes ands this stuff right here.
There you go. Yes and.
To quote a very popular movie, let the spice flow.
What movie was that?
That's from Dune. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Look at this, a busted out brand new flannel shirt here, just for the occasion.
Yeah, it's also, folks, you're not watching the live stream. First of all, you're missing out because you got some peak flannel happening right here on Pat's side. But it's also open with a shirt underneath.
I layered. It's layered too. Do you know why it's layered?
Because it's pumpkin spice season?
It is. It's 42 degrees up here in Chippewaffles. It's 33 in Hayward right now. Yeah.
Oh!
Welcome to the first full day of fall, everybody. 37 in Park Falls, 44 in Wausau, 46 in Green Bay, 46 in La Crosse. Rapids at 42, Oshkosh 49, heating up. Madison 49, Waukesha, you're the warm spot, 52 degrees down there. Still having hot fun in the summertime down there, aren't you?
I'm wearing shorts.
You're in shorts and a t-shirt, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah,
I'm a big dude, so I'm always running hot.
Well, we're here north of the wall, Game of Thrones reference, and it's winter's always coming.
So it's really disappointing where you live too. Okay,
well, we've got some wild walkers or white walkers, wildlings. Show hasn't been on for a while. I've lost my references. But yeah, fall is here. I'm really missing that early sunrise. Sunrise is at 6:54 this morning. But on the other hand, we've got Packer football and we've got postseason baseball that we get to talk about. Were you in any way, shape, or form monitoring that Brewers game late yesterday afternoon?
After the way we got just shellacked in this series, and I had stuff to do yesterday, so I really wasn't paying attention. So when I went to bed, I just okay.
We're watching the second half of the Packers game, and I'm looking at my phone and occasionally mentioning to my friends, the Brewers are down 3-0 already. And like moments later, oh no, it's 5-0. Moments later, it's 7-0. So we're sure we're going to get swept, all 4 games by Arizona. Yeah. And it was 8-0 when the Packer game ended, and I switched the TV over, but I wasn't really paying attention. And by that, I mean I was actually channel surfing, and so occasionally my phone would be like, it's 8-2. Now it's 8 to whatever. Folks, the Brewers came back from 8 runs down and won that game. It was amazing. It was such a great sports day between the Packers and the Brewers. What a happy boy. Here's what else is coming up on the program today before we get to telling you more about the Packers and the Brewers. Kristen Lyerly will be here. We'll be talking a bit about maternal health. We are already behind the rest of the developed world when it comes to preventing women from dying in pregnancy, childbirth, and shortly after. Abortion bans are already starting to make the situation worse, so we'll talk to her about that. We also have New Jersey Senator Cory Booker joining us. We talked to him as he was coming into Wisconsin to campaign on behalf of Vice President Kamala Harris and Senator Tammy Baldwin. Salina Heller will be here to tell us how rural school districts are using a new approach to help themselves and their communities with the worsening shortage of affordable childcare options. So let's see. And we'll hear from Senator Tammy Baldwin and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. They were in Richland County Saturday to make the case for rural voters to support Baldwin's bid for re-election and Vice President Kamala Harris's bid for the White House. So a lot of ground to cover today, and along the way, if you'd like to join us by phone or by text, 855-75-CIVIC is how you do it, 888-878-7575, and you can call that number or you can text the number. You can also reach us by putting a comment on the Up North News Facebook page or the Up North News YouTube page, where this fine little program is streaming. There will be the Go for the Green or Gold contest coming up in our next hour, where you will get a chance to use your Civic Media app to text us a keyword. And then you'll be in the running for either $100 cash or gold jewelry, and you'll be in the running for a grand prize to see the Green and Gold in Green Bay on December 23rd against New Orleans. So be listening for that coming up in our 7 o'clock hour as well. I would like to tell you that it is not, tomorrow will be 6 weeks until Election Day, Greg. But there's actually more to it than that. It's election time right now, he said, holding up his absentee ballot. Look what came in the mail. That's it. That's democracy right there. So I figured here live on the radio, we would open up this thing and see what we got going for us. Yeah, I got a letter opener. Of course I do. It's a good letter opener. And here we go. We got some instructions for voting absentee. Please follow them carefully. We got your envelope that you send this thing back in. And again, read the envelope carefully. You need a witness to sign it. Mm-hmm. And of course, we got the ballot right here. And unlike in the state of Montana, where overseas electronic balloting options did not include Kamala Harris, because the Republican Secretary of State in Montana might be corrupt, this one does indeed list all the candidates for president and for U.S. Senator and Congress and Assembly, District Attorney, County Clerk, County Treasurer, Register of Deeds. They're all here, just waiting for me to fill them out. If you would like your absentee ballot, it is not too late at all. Go learn more at myvote.wi.gov, myvote.wi.gov. Find out about registration, find out about absentee voting, which you can either do by mail or you can do in person at your local clerk's office. So yeah, they're not counting votes. We're all casting votes already for the next 6 weeks here. And I saw one figure, I wanted to confirm it, but it was, well over half of the votes in 2020, again, because it was a pandemic year, but came in before Election Day. Now, I don't know what the percentage is going to be like this time, but it is a growing trend, and you should take advantage of that. Or are you still going to be a stand in line at your local polling place person?
Oh, no, I am awaiting an envelope like yours in the mail, for I went to myvote.wi.gov and requested an absentee ballot as well.
Very nice. Good on you. All right.
Thank you.
My work here is done.
Shutting the show down, everyone.
But I got another.
Democracy is safe.
I guess I got another hour and 46 to say something here. So let me tell you that in the Up North News Daily newsletter, one of the stories there is about how Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance proposed more than doubling the federal child credit to $5,000, but recently missed the chance to vote for an expanded credit. And it was an effort that was blocked by his fellow Senate Republicans anyway. So I have reason to doubt his sincerity. Also, a story about reform and do-overs as a father becomes a restaurant owner thanks to a nonprofit vocational training program. So that's in today's newsletter. To become a subscriber, you just have to head over to UpNorthNewsWI.com, click on subscribe up in the top banner, and we would love to have you along as somebody that follows our daily, unabashedly Wisconsin news on our website. All right, let's talk a little bit more about, let's start with that Packer victory first. Backup quarterback Malik Willis is certainly making the most of the opportunity that has come his way by filling in for the injured Jordan Love. He's been with the team now for 4 weeks. It was 4 weeks ago today that we traded with Tennessee for him, and the Packers were in Tennessee yesterday. And Malik Willis ran for a touchdown and threw for one, leading the Packers to a 30-14 rout of the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. In the first quarter, the Packers got 137 yards. Willis accounted for 134 of that, and he finished with 202 yards passing. and 73 yards rushing. The kid's got legs. Cornerback Jair Alexander scored a touchdown on his first career pick six late in the first quarter. Xavier McKinney also had an interception. The Packers now have 7 picks through 3 games. They had 7 interceptions in all of 2023. So things are already going a lot better for the green and gold. The Pack also had 8 sacks, their most since getting 8 in Chicago in January of 2005. They also forced 3 turnovers. Packers will take on the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. That will be next Sunday at Lambeau Field. It'll be at noon, and that's a CBS game this time around. And for the Lambeau crowd, that is a gold package game. I think we talked about this when the schedule first came out, that coincidentally or not, all the division games are in the gold package this time around, the games that used to be played at County Stadium a million years ago, which, again, gold package holders are either being unfairly maligned or held to account that it always feels like there's more visiting fans on those days, that gold fan tickets are selling their tickets. Don't do it, kids. Don't do it. Strangers in.
Uncle Ronnie, are you listening to me right now? Uncle Ronnie, you do not sell your tickets.
Roger from Stevens Point says it's 41 degrees, and he says now the Packers have 2 quarterbacks better than Caleb Williams. Oh, the Bears. The poor Bears. God love them. Yeah.
That didn't work the way I wanted to, but that's fine.
That's all right. And the Brewers, again, they were down 8-0 in the 3rd inning. They chipped away, and by the 8th inning with 2 outs, they had tied the game and then pulled ahead to win 10-9. It's the 3rd time in franchise history they've come back to win after being down 8 runs. The record is from a game in Cincinnati in 2004 when they were down 9-0 and came back to win 10-9. The Brewers are off today. Their last road trip of the regular season begins tomorrow in Pittsburgh. Games at 5:40 tomorrow, 5:40 Wednesday, and then 11:35 a.m. on Thursday. Then they come home to play 3 against the New York Mets, and then it's playoff baseball, baby. We will hear from Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Senator Tammy Baldwin next. You're Up North.
Don't start clinging to me, girl, 'cause I can't breathe. Baby, baby, don't get hooked on me. Baby, baby, don't get hooked on me.
I just loved songs of that era. They were just so, what's the word I'm looking for? Misogynistic? Yeah, maybe something like that. There's Mac Davis.
Okay, I was going to be like, reminiscent, nostalgic.
Oh, no. It's always about, no, girl, we're just doing this for a night, and then please forget my name. Chevy Van and other songs like that. And actually, a lot of women had songs like that, too. It was a different time back then. That whole... baby, baby, don't get hooked on me. Mac Davis, the number one song in this day in 1972.
And it's warm.
Yeah.
Back in my day, women could take a compliment. All right. Mac Davis was the man.
Mac Davis. Boy, I haven't heard him on the radio in a long time. He had some really nice crossover country tunes, Stop and Smell the Roses, One Hell of a Woman, I Believe in Music. But then he also had, you ever hear Mac Davis's It's Hard to Be Humble?
Yes.
Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble and perfect in every way. We gotta play that. Gonna play that one of these times, too. Anyway, much more in today's history lesson coming up 30 minutes from now here on Up North News Radio. All right, over the weekend, Senator Tammy Baldwin had a busy weekend of campaigning. On Friday, she was part of a cheering crowd of like 10,000 people at the Dane County Coliseum. And then the next day, she was campaigning around rural Richland and Lafayette counties with a friend, the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, one of those folks who was on the short list of a possible running mate for Tim Walz. And Greg, I'm starting to worry about this whole Tim Walz thing because Alicia writes in, just wanted to say, Pat, I'm kind of starting to merge you and Tim Walz. I'm thinking it's just the flannel shirt because Lord knows I can't fix car engines. Yeah, it's such a mystery.
I would say that's a great compliment.
Oh, I'm complimented. I put up a nice compliment about Tim Walz over the weekend. He put out a new video where he was working on some old truck that he owns.
Yeah.
And he always gives like car advice and things, but I'm the guy that would say help Tim Walz with technology or writing, and then he'd help me with the car because he knows the mechanical stuff because we're both the same age. We just we took very different paths, and I really admire somebody that is that mechanical. So yeah, he had a nice video out about that. And Josh Shapiro would have made a perfectly fine running mate too, but instead he has been one of the big boosters that's going around out there, this time with Senator Baldwin going through parts of rural Wisconsin. And again, like Pennsylvania, you could certainly try to win just going to the big cities, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and some of the others. But the real way to win in states like these is to cover the whole state, to be everywhere. It's been one of, Tammy Baldwin's strong suits is that this Madison native has had no problem going anywhere in Wisconsin, being a good listener and being a good worker on behalf of the interests of the folks in those communities. And so she was interviewed, as was Governor Shapiro, by some of our civic media folks and other reporters. And so I want to play you a few excerpts from those interviews. First, here's Senator Tammy Baldwin talking about the energy that you need to bring to this campaign and into rural Wisconsin as you do your campaigning.
First of all, there is a lot of energy and excitement, and I think people really do understand the stakes in this election. It's up to all of us to traverse the state, as I said earlier, not just blue counties, but purple counties, red counties, meet people where they are, listen, and show the clear contrast between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and Tammy Baldwin and Eric Hovde. This is a battleground state. Statewide races are often decided by razor-thin margins. I am running to get around the state, to meet people where they're at, because I know this is going to be a close race. And there's a lot of polls out there that show it within the margin of error. We're going to sprint through the finish line.
And then Governor Shapiro talked a bit here, so we'll play some excerpts from him, again, talking about the stakes of the race, and the stakes are so high, you have to campaign everywhere.
In order to secure and protect freedom across this country, it's probably going to come down to 3 states. My beloved Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, along with Michigan and Wisconsin, and anything I can do to amplify the importance of the stakes of this election, especially in those 3 states, I think is really important. In addition to that, we know that as the Senate races go in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, with Bob Casey, a great senator who we need to return to the U.S. Senate, that's going to have a lot to do with whether we can pass an agenda that restores a woman's right to choose, that protects our fundamental freedoms. So I think it's really important that we all work together. Governor Evers, Governor Whitmer, and myself have talked a lot about our role in this election. We plan to get on a bus together next month and traverse through these 3 states again. And it's really, really important that folks here in Wisconsin understand the real power that they have in this coming election. I think in 2016, all 3 states at the presidential level were settled by less than 100,000 votes. That doesn't scare me. It makes me want to work harder. It makes me want to travel more miles. And it makes me want to make sure that folks here in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, Michigan, elsewhere, understand the power that they have to make a difference in people's lives. Whether it's connecting people to the internet, as Senator Baldwin has done, or making sure women have a right to be able to make decisions over their own bodies. It all comes down to these races from the top of the ticket on down. Senator Baldwin and I show up in communities like this, and we treat voters with respect, no matter what signs might be on a neighbor's lawn or what past election results have shown. One of the things that you should look at is, notwithstanding the big signs over there, Senator Baldwin has routinely won in communities like this. Because listen, I think voters here, Pennsylvania, I can speak of with some authority, they're discerning, they're thoughtful. They want to kick the tires on their elected leaders and would-be elected leaders. Find out if they're genuine. Find out if they care about them. And the way that happens is by showing up. That's what Senator Baldwin has done throughout her career. And voters here in Richland County and other communities similar to this, they've rewarded her with the most precious thing they have in our democracy, their vote. And you know what? After they've given her their vote in the past, she keeps showing up. She doesn't forget about them. That says a lot about the kind of leader that she is. That's why I've tried to run and govern in Pennsylvania. It's clearly what she's done here, what Governor Evers has done. And that's something that I think is critically important in our politics today.
Couldn't agree more. The thing we need in our politics today is more people who are service-driven, who are mission-driven to help others, whether they voted for them or not. And it's what's made Tammy Baldwin successful up to this point. And in our next hour, we'll hear from New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, also in Wisconsin this weekend, campaigning for Tammy Baldwin and for Kamala Harris. More after this. You're Up North.
'Cause I'll just leave you. I can't take
Baby, don't get hooked on me.
Okay.
Bum, 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 bum. Hi.
Hi. Good morning.
How was your weekend?
Good. Busy.
Mm-hmm. So you got in a nice bike ride.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got one yesterday and the day before, last day of summer, first day of fall. So good.
Nice. All right. Oh, how's the environment up there? Do you have any other political events this weekend?
Just delivering babies.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just constantly reminded of how our medical system is failing women and people who live in rural areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing new to you.
Nothing new.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We do our best.
Yep. All right. When do you make the push back east?
After clinic on Wednesday.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. These are long stretches. I will
know,
have been on
yeah.
call for nearly 2 straight weeks.
Right.
I just don't sleep all that well when I'm on call because I'm always
On call.
expecting a phone call. So it's a lot.
See, and Sherry hasn't been on call in it's coming up on 4 months here.
That's wild.
Yeah. She's having a hard time thinking how she's going to go back.
Is she? Are they going back?
I don't know. They don't know yet.
Yeah.
They talk about dates, but no idea. Because you gotta staff up, and staffing is a challenge, shall we say? So
Real hard for
Yeah.
all specialties. The data shows that people don't want to practice in places where they're concerned that they can't practice the way
Right.
that they know they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Dr. Lyerly, I sent you a tweet just now from a man who is an OBGYN and also got a very foul mouth, in my opinion.
That guy.
And disrespect. Yeah, he disgusting. Disgusting.
Yep. Been reading reactions.
I almost thought he was like an AI or a bot or something. But
I wondered too at first. I'm like, no, this guy can't be real. But we've all met them.
This is that surgeon guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He blocked me. I went to go look at his. I don't even know who he is, and he blocked me
Nice.
preemptively, I guess.
nice. He's
All right.
afraid. All right.
Yes.
The bag, but I know y'all wanted that 808. Can you feel that BASS bass? But I know y'all wanted that 808. Can you feel that BASS bass? I like the way you move. I like the way you move. Woo, I love the way you move.
I suppose we have to talk at some point, or we could just let this keep playing on, because it was on this day in 2003 that Outkast put out a little album, Speaker Box and The Love Below. It included The Way You Move and Hey Ya, and I love when Greg accuses me of sounding my age.
No, I'm not making fun of you at all. It was Pat. That was 21 years ago. Okay.
That was it? It was the time thing?
That's just it's holy cow. If you asked me, I'd be like, I don't know, like 2015, 2014. What? Yeah, like
Nope.
10 years ago.
Nope.
Ugh.
2003.
I
Although
love how Pat has already
I already know.
metabolized that in his mind. He's already like, 21 years ago.
Yep.
Welcome to the club, Greg. It was 21 years ago.
it's no less painful, though. It's no less painful. Dr. Lyerly, how are you?
Hey, I'm so good. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to have you here. You have been delivering babies and doing your work. You've been working it this weekend.
Yep, taking care of the ladies, building families, all that good stuff. I love it. I'm so lucky to have this job.
See, now, if more people had your outlook.
God, I just seriously, back in the 90s, there were 1-900 numbers where you can call to get a joke or something. There should have been call Dr. Lyerly for sunshine. Hey, you are amazing. Yep. Hey, everything you're doing is exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now.
Didn't some kindergartners do that? There was a phone number that you could call, and they would
call a kindergartner.
Yeah,
they would
tell
encourage you.
Cheerful, yeah.
Oh, I would be crying immediately.
Man, is it tough not to be, I mean, I know the Packers were in Tennessee, but is it weird not to be in Green Bay for any given Packer Sunday? It's, there's such a community there. I'm not trying to make you sad, but.
No, I mean, you do what you do. So, like, my boys and I were texting each other. What a game yesterday. It was so much fun to watch. Wasn't it? I mean, not for the quarterback for the Titans, but for us.
We were guy. Good.
But he's doing great. He's a great person, living his best life.
Feeling very sore today. Lots of ibuprofen.
And cashing really big checks. So he'll be okay. Yeah. So no, it was fun to watch. It was actually, I mean, it's game 3 of the season, but it was the first time in my regular Sunday place, sitting with the neighbors, at a local establishment and taking in the game and catching up on life with everybody. There's just such a camaraderie, about the game, and that was nice. But then had to come home and engage in one of those sad chores this time of year. And that was taking anything off the pontoon that needed to come off before it goes into winter storage.
Wait. Next week's going to be good.
I'm not saying it's leaving yet, but I may not be available for that. So, I mean, if you're coming through, I'll leave the key someplace for you. But I think our rides might be done for the summer, just based on what all is on our calendar. So, little melancholy that way, but it was a good summer. It's been especially good late summer. I mean, this 3-4 week stretch of warm temperatures and a lot of sun. It's been really nice. So I'm ready to hop into fall as shown off by the flannel here. We've got the brand new flannel shirt. Fleet Farm. I'll go ahead and give them a shout out for that. But it's also led to It's all led to Alicia saying apparently I've got a Midwest dad vibe going here. But then she welcomes you as well, saying, "Yay, the lady who's going to win her debate on Friday and the election in November." And Tony, of course, immediately jumping to the end of the page and going, "Congresswoman Lyerly is here."
First of all, hi to both of you two, Tony and Alicia. Fine. Cool.
Well, Kristen brings the sunshine. So you do have a debate this week for your congressional race.
I'm so excited about it. It's going to be so much fun for me because I love doing this kind of stuff, but also to be able to show the people of northeastern Wisconsin what these two candidates are all about and to be able to answer some of the questions that we have been asked. So I'm looking forward to it.
You should, because you get that opportunity. Unlike in other places and in other districts, I mean, Derek Van Orden still hasn't agreed to debate Becca Cook. And then there's legislative races. I saw Emily Sefos put up something about how there's going to be a debate with or without her Republican opponent. And I've noticed that in a fair share of districts where if the Republican thinks that they're comfortably ahead, I mean, they just don't even respond to debate invitations. So your constituents will at least get that respect from you.
Yeah, they deserve it. And, you're right. I think especially because of the gerrymandering that we've been living with for so long, the Republicans haven't had to step up and to demonstrate why they are the better candidate. But it's different this year. And Emily Sefos is the prime example of somebody who is doing the work day in, day out, knocking doors. She has repeatedly asked Dave Murphy to just sit down and have a conversation, but he doesn't actually respond to her requests. So it's unfortunate because the people of the Appleton and Western Outagamie area deserve to know. But Emily's going to continue to do what she can do. She's a hard worker, and she's going to be an incredible representative.
Kristen Lyerly's with us now on this Monday morning, and I wanted to use your background as well, not just as a candidate, but an OBGYN, to talk about Vice President Kamala Harris making remarks in Atlanta on Friday before she came to Madison. Wanted to speak at length about abortion care, women's reproductive health rights. But the angle I wanted to ask you about today is about, maternal mortality. And the rate that we have here in this country is shamefully high. It's 22 deaths per 100,000. That is more than 50% higher than the next closest country. And black women in the U.S. have a maternal mortality rate more than double the country's overall rate. And Vice President Harris, made note of that's already a problem, and it's a problem being made worse by these abortion bans.
1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. This includes Georgia and every state in the South except Virginia. Think about that when you also combine that with what we know has been longstanding neglect around an issue like maternal mortality. Think about that when you compound that with what has been longstanding neglect of women in communities with a lack of the adequate resources they need for health care, prenatal, during their pregnancy, postpartum. Think about that. And these hypocrites want to start talking about this is in the best interest of women and children. Well, where you been? Where you been when it comes to taking care of the women and children of America? Where you been?
I think that's an extremely fair question, Kristen. Where you been?
I hear that and I just think yes, because it's so hypocritical to hear these mostly white male politicians telling us as physicians, and I know we're going to get into this, that we're doing a bad job taking care of our patients and that that's the problem. When in reality, we know that we weren't doing a good job before abortion bans because of so many of the restrictions and so many of the underlying problems with our medical system. But now, in 1 in 3 states in this country, women who are pregnant are 3 times more likely to die related to their pregnancy. We know this. And not just that, but in states like Texas, because of their abortion bans, babies are more likely to die. 12%. Infant mortality has risen. 12% more babies are dying in Texas because of this lack of access to health care. And they want to turn it around and make it about us. I mean, come on.
No, again, there is so much, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, neglect, political neglect, maybe.
Political malpractice?
Political malpractice is indeed probably a better way of putting it. And so, I was just glad to have the vice president talk like that. And it's something that she continues to get points for, is turning around what had been long simmering frustration that Democratic candidates wanted to avoid talking about abortion rights whenever they could, or they just kind of gloss over it and kind of give it some passing reference. And as you know from your past couple of years here, the conversations have had become much more detailed, because look what happens when you try to ignore the problem. It doesn't go away. They end up passing the Dobbs decision and taking away your rights.
Right. We have to talk about these things, and people are finding their voices and talking about them. Abortion is not a rare thing. 1 in 4 women in this country will have abortions for lots of different reasons. And as a doctor who has these confidential conversations with people in the exam room, it breaks my heart every time somebody has to go public with their story. But that's the only way to get this information out there. And it makes me so very angry when we are accused by people for fear-mongering, for simply telling these stories. It's not fear-mongering. You're doing the fear-mongering by pointing the finger back at these people who are just sharing their experiences.
Well, I'll tell you where the fear-mongering is happening. We've noticed this in ads, anti-trans ads, that are not now from like some fringe groups, but from the candidates themselves. Donald Trump's newest TV ads are anti-trans ads. And now Eric Hovde's new ad is all about Tammy Baldwin will allow this and this and this. And here's the thing. Donald Trump and Eric Hovde, at no point in time on their top 100 list of reasons for running, has anything to do with the trans community. It's fear-mongering for the sake of convenience and political power, so they can go back and cut taxes for billionaires. But it just tells you where they've gone, that there's a level of desperation getting involved here when you have to make these wild claims about the trans community to try to scrape up a few votes here and there.
The border.
Boys
and girls bathrooms.
It's the brown people, the black people, and the people in dresses. The guys in dresses.
But Pat, the number one thing that I'm hearing from people when I'm talking with people in the community is that they're sick of this. They're not dumb They recognize that all of these issues are just shiny objects meant to distract them from the things that are really happening, the way the government is really not working for them. And I've had so many wonderful, informed conversations with people who traditionally vote for Republicans and understand how dysfunctional Congress is, how dysfunctional our legislature has been, and how little work they're actually doing on behalf of the people because they're so busy stoking these culture war issues for their own personal power.
I hear you, and I want to believe that. I do believe that people are getting sick of hearing all this. All I'm going to say to that is it also means that some of these campaigns are going to get increasingly desperate. And if this is what they've brought out so far, I mean, they tried to swift boat Tim Walz over his military record, and that didn't stick. They tried things like, Kamala Harris didn't tell you that she worked at McDonald's, so just silly little attacks like that. And they've just kind of ramped them up. And as these things aren't sticking, they're trying new things. And it just reminds me to remind everybody that with 43 days to go, just, prepare for anything. And remember the real issues, the base issues of why you would be voting for somebody. And if you keep that in mind, or better yet, if you go vote early, like somebody whose absentee ballot came in the mail this weekend, just vote now, and then it doesn't matter what the commercials say.
That sound is the paper shaking of democracy. All right, there we go, folks.
And you know what? Talk to people. Don't just get your information from Facebook or from Fox News, but actually have conversations with people and hear each other. We have been missing that. COVID isolated us, and our little rabbit holes that we live in isolate us. But the more conversations that we can have with our neighbors about the things that we care about, the better we are going to be at working together to solve these problems at all levels, not just when we're talking about the president or our senator, but at the school board level and the county board level. This is about building community, and this is the time to do it.
You see, and that's why Kristen Lyerly gets all the happy comments that she get. Oh, wait. Greg is now getting fan mail. Oh, this might be passive aggressive fan mail, but it's from Alicia. Hi, Greg. We can't have Up North News without you. And Tony puts up on YouTube. Is that the guy who runs the Laughing Tap? I'm starstruck.
Me too.
See, it felt good until you read it with the tone, Patrick Jerome. My goodness. Let me have something in this world. It's about time a white man in his middle ages wins something, all right?
He's Greg Buck, and he approves this message. Salina Heller joins us for today's history lesson coming up right after this. You're Up North.
I read that very quickly, that National Review article, and I just want to punch that reporter in the face. What irresponsible journalism that is.
Wait,
well, I guess we know what we're doing after weather. Okay, good.
Well, good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, Salina.
Hi, Salina. Bring some sunshine from the local lands. What's going on? No. What National Review article are you referring?
Oh, we were talking about the woman in Georgia who died because of the abortion ban.
Yeah.
And on the right, I sent her an article from National Review, and it was all like, oh no, it's not the abortion ban at all. It's the doctors, it's the abortion pill, it's all this other stuff. So
we talked about that on Public Cervix last Wednesday, and I didn't say a word because Jane and Dr. Hanks were so overcome with emotion about it that like I didn't have anything to say, and I was just listening to them speak, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Like I was like angry and sad, and all of the emotions were happening, and I just didn't know what to do.
Can I just make the pitch then to lighten the mood a bit that maybe we should always use announcement when talking about, I'm not sure if you just say public cervix. It's I think you need the announcement in there too, but it could just be me.
Huh?
I think Pat is feeling uncomfortable with the idea of a public cervix.
I mean, look, however you want to make your money, that's your, what you do for a living. That's fine.
I see now, Pat. You're all about freedom on the radio waves, but when we get talking about it here, you got to keep both those here. All right, here we go.
All right, good.
Nope, I did it again.
Early. I know.
Did it
That's
again.
Okay. That's okay.
I did it again.
Here we go. Oh, it is a big birthday day in today's history lesson. Salina Heller from Up North News joins us as well. Miss Heller, how are you?
Very good. Good morning. We had a
Good,
nice
good.
weekend camping, so that was fun.
A weekend of camping. Oh, before winter comes. Good for you.
Exactly.
All right. Like I said, big birthdays. Bruce Springsteen, the pride of Long Branch, New Jersey, 75 years old today. And still getting her done. Saw a concert from about a week ago or so, and the man's hardly lost a gear at this point. So happy birthday to Bruce. But get this.
I saw him last year at Wrigley, and he put so much energy into that 3-hour show. The fans started sitting down toward the end because they couldn't keep up.
That was the clip that I saw a clip from a New Jersey show where he's like, "You think you can outlast the E Street Band?" And like, we're going. And he kept going more. But that's not it for birthdays. On the day that Bruce Springsteen was born 75 years ago, it was the 19th birthday for a guy we know as Ray Charles, born this day in 1930.
His mama goes, swept the floor so many that I declare. Some of them hardly make the penny.
Ray Charles Robinson, born in Albany, Georgia, this day in 1930, passed away in 2004. He'd been blinded by glaucoma at the age of 7 and became a transgressive musician, adding gospel elements to new forms of music that became known as soul and rock. Oh, but wait, there's more birthdays. When Ray Charles was born, John Coltrane was 4 years old, having been born this day in 1926. Born in Hamlet, North Carolina, this jazz saxophonist passed away way too soon, 1967, at the age of 40. One of Greg Bach's favorites.
My favorite musician of all time, period. He's the end-all, be-all for me.
Julio Iglesias is 81 years old today on the birthdays, as is the late Jerry Corbetta. He was the lead vocalist of Sugarloaf.
Green-eyed lady, lovely lady.
Sugarloaf, my number 2 favorite ever.
I can't see through the monitors here, so I don't know if there's a green-eyed lady on the screen or not. Would that be you, Dr. Larley?
Yeah.
So, did you like this song when you were hearing it on the radio, or did it not speak to you?
Yeah, it just
Okay. All right. George Costanza, Jason Alexander, is 65 years old today. Skylar Aston of Pitch Perfect, So Help Me Todd, and other projects is 37 today. Buddy Holly and the Crickets hit number 1 this day in 1957 with this hit.
Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say
According to Songfacts, the title of the song was inspired by a John Wayne line in the movie The Searchers, which I haven't seen the clip, but I can hear John Wayne going, "That'll be the day." We mentioned that in 2003, Outkast put out their album Speaker Box, The Love Below. And one of my, well, maybe it is my favorite album of all time. It's one of my top 3. Steely Dan's Asia came out this day in 1977. We'll play a little Deacon Blues later. Black Cow, plenty of other hits. One more musical note. This day in 1967, a group called the Box Tops went to number 1 with The Letter.
give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast
The
train.
Box Tops sounds like a band up there with the Archies, right? Like it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
And then you get this guy who's like, "I'm just gonna get down and be my baby."
There's nothing Archie sounding about this band, and yet, Kristen, Salina, this lead singer, Alex Chilton. Do you know how old he was?
At 15.
16.
Oh my gosh.
16, and he has the number one song with that voice.
He's 16 in this video. He looks like he's 38.
I know.
Oh, he looks and sounds.
Yes, very
And
much
he
so.
went on to have this like long, illustrious career. I mean, he was very influential.
Yeah. Yep, he did good. Later, we will talk about how 10 years after their bitter breakup, the Everly Brothers reunited for a concert this day in 1983. Let's see, and on the calendar today, this is National Family Day, part of National Family Week. This is Education Technology Day. Salina, I think we'll talk about that shortly here. International Sign Language Day. It's National Bakers Day, Checkers Day, Pot Pie Day, Snack Stick Day, and Redhead Appreciation Day. This is National Eye Health Week, National Glucose Awareness Week, and National Migraine Awareness Week as well. Selena, did you get a migraine or anything else for your troubles for trying to camp over the weekend, or did it go smoothly?
Pretty smoothly. We had a storm, and the storm rolling. So, but we got everything in time.
I was going to say, do you have a pop up like Kristen does, or
Pop
okay?
up, yep. Had to batten down the hatches.
And Kristen, did you?
Yeah, it looked pretty ominous, coming.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Yeah.
So okay, well, glad. Okay, good deal.
I
I realized the power went out here for about 10 seconds during one of those thunderstorms, and I was thankful for there's fewer clocks now that you have to reset than before, because so many things have like a little battery backup now. That it's better than it used to be, but no less frustrating. Kristen, how many times did you get the pop-up out this year?
Oh, just 2.
Just 2, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a busy summer, Pat. This whole running for Congress while I'm working and being a mom business, 2 graduations,
Kristen Lyerly can't put her pop-up out. What a Wisconsinite can do.
We made a lot of reservations. We just ended up canceling all of them because campaign stuff came up.
Such an underachiever.
At least you got out too. That's good.
I'm not complaining. I love camping. This just isn't the summer for it. But we'll end up at Lake Wissota next summer, and we'll talk to you.
Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, among other things we'll be talking to and about next. You're up north. All right, Whiskers.
He got a bath last night, so he's all smells so good.
Does he like a bath?
Yeah, he sits in there. It's very strange. He just
Emery got him broken in really early. Yeah. Those pictures are insane.
They would have tea parties in the tub.
Selena, which one do you want to do first, Renee or Kristen?
Renee.
Doesn't matter. Okay, there you go.
But go with whatever you do
for my own edification.
Okay. All right, so we'll do the contest. We'll do weather. Coming out of weather, Kristen will do the Georgia story, and then I'll do a little sports. We'll take a break, and then Selena will do your tapes, if that's okay. Are you okay with doing stuff at 7:20, or do you need to bail out by then to get Emery ready?
7:20 is fine.
She's up. No, I mean you can go till 7:30.
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. All right. I'm gonna go get some temperatures because you need that this time of year now.
I'll be right back.
Okie doke. Brittany, how we doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. You have a good weekend? Did you lay low?
I laid low. Did some little bit of. I went to like different parks and stuff over the weekend though to see if there's any fall colors. So that was fun.
Nice. Still not quite there yet?
Not quite. I was hoping for more.
That's all right.
I'm super far up north. Not many fall colors up here.
I looked at the Wisconsin color report just before the show started. And it's like nothing. Like 3 counties in the far northeast, have barely gotten going. But it'll be here before you know it.
Bum, bum, bum.
All right, here we go. 15 seconds.
All across Wisconsin from Civic Media, this is UpNorthNews Radio. Now, live from our Lake Minnesota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Brightlow.
Good morning. Welcome back to Up North News Radio, unabashedly Wisconsin, brought to you by Courier Newsroom and carried by our friends here on the Civic Media Radio Network. 7:06. Nice to have you here on a Monday morning. It's September 23rd, 43 days until Election Day, 6 weeks from tomorrow. But the absentee ballots are already starting to get sent out. Head to myvote.wi.gov to learn more about how you can get your vote banked well ahead of Election Day. Coming up this hour, we're going to hear from New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. I talked to him just as the weekend was getting started, as he was coming into Wisconsin to campaign on behalf of Vice President Kamala Harris and Senator Tammy Baldwin. So we'll hear from him in just a little while. Up North News reporter Salina Heller is here. Dr. Kristen Lyerly, OBGYN and candidate for Congress, is here. And meteorologist Brittany Merlot here as well. But before any of that, we have our Go for the Green or Gold Text to Win contest, where 4 times a day we give you a keyword that you will text to us on the app. Each of those times we pick one entry statewide at random. The winner gets $100 cash or gold jewelry, depending on what's up for grabs that hour. And of all the entries, there will be one grand prize winner getting a pair of tickets to see the Green and Gold in Green Bay on Monday, December 23rd against New Orleans. The contest happens in the 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. hours, and you have to text the keyword in the app before the end of each hour. And the keyword for this hour to text us on the Civic Media app is VOTE. V as in Victor, VOTE, like get out and vote. You text that to us before the end of the hour, and you will be registered to perhaps be the winner of gold jewelry this hour from the statewide Go for the Green or Gold Text to Win contest. So, yeah, there's been a little bit of a change in the weather. That's because there's been a change in the season here on this first full day of autumn, and meteorologist Brittany Merlot is here to tell us all about it. Somebody busted out the flannel, Brittany. It's getting to be that time.
Isn't it great? Sweater.
Look at how happy you sound about this. Summer's dead. Here,
it's gone.
Yes.
We're done
it's
with
all
it.
Sleeves and flannel and hoodies and everything that you like.
Right? This is the Wisconsin vibe. So I'm excited for it. Officially fall now. We've got those fall colors about to hit peak over the next few weeks. Of course, I know it's taken its time, but this week's weather is prime to get those colors going. It's going to be vibrant because we're going to have the perfect temperatures and a lot of sunshine, and that's exactly what those leaves need, is those crisp, cool nights and those sunny days. So we're going to see those flipping very, very shortly. So otherwise, though, enjoy it. It's nice, crisp, cool, refreshing today. Highs in those mid to upper 60s. Further south in the state, you might hit some low 70s. But right now, this morning, a frost advisory is still in effect. Areas like Solon Springs, Tomahawk, and Kings all hit 32 degrees this morning.
Wow.
So pretty chilly. Yeah. We've still got that fog too into the Phillips area, Rhinelander, but that'll all burn off to a bright, beautiful day. A lot of sunshine unless you live south, very southern state line. I think some clouds are going to start to push in this afternoon and some slight rain chances after dark. But otherwise, a gorgeous week and a comfortable week ahead.
It's been a long time since I've looked out the window and, Lake Wissota isn't there. There's just a bowl of fog where the lake normally would be. And
foggy.
It's a little, so take it easy on the roads out there today. Let's see, Brittany, we don't know the weather in Tigerton. Here it is from Rob Now. Good morning from Tigerton. He writes on YouTube, it's cool, 43 degrees. It was a relaxing weekend doing my house chores, enjoying the rain that fell Saturday night. We got 0.6 of an inch of rain, and Sunday watching the Packers win. He says, I went and took pictures, especially at sunset when the sun rise and set straight east and west. And he concludes by saying, you are all my favorite morning crew.
Aww.
To which Tony says, I second that, Rob. And reminds us that there's frost up in Ashland as well. So thanks to all of you. And thank you, Brittany, very much.
Thank you.
All right. You have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, Brittany.
Bye.
All right. Before Kristen goes, we wanted to talk a bit about some other things that have been in the news. And this one's a bit more of a serious subject, but it's something that Vice President Kamala Harris brought up in her remarks, continues to bring up in her remarks, especially in light of a new report that shows that there are already women who have died from abortion restrictions that have been put in place since the Dobbs decision. And Kristen, you just had to know there'd be some kind of a response / backlash to this. And I'm thinking specifically the case of a young woman in Georgia who had to go, I believe, to North Carolina for a DNC and medication, and she later died of complications. And of course, we've already seen the reviews saying, "Oh, this has nothing to do with abortion bans. This is an indictment of abortion medication or anything else, any other reason that they can grasp at." And I can only imagine what an OBGYN like you thinks reading what happened to that woman and in these cases.
First of all, losing Amber Thurman, who was a young mom with a young son, is an absolute tragedy, and it was entirely preventable. And that is what Georgia's State Maternal Mortality Review Board determined. This is an organization comprised of professionals, of physicians who reviewed this woman's care and believe that her death was entirely preventable. She went to North Carolina to get abortion pills, came back to Georgia, developed an infection, which is a rare thing, and her team delayed caring for her because of abortion restrictions. This is entirely attributable to abortion bans. If she had been able to go to her doctor, tell her what the problem is, get the procedure she needed, she would still be here. She'd be alive being a mom to her son. But because of bans, she had to travel. Everything was secret and discreet. Her doctors didn't know how to take care of her because politicians are dictating our healthcare decisions when doctors know what we're supposed to be doing to take care of our patients. These abortion bans are literally killing people, and Amber Thurman is one of many. We're about to hear about more.
Oh, I mean, like we said in the last half hour here, that more women, feel the need. They have to come forward and share their stories, because otherwise, as Alicia Saunders writes in, politicians keep trying to put their nose in our private healthcare decisions. And it is just not. We already knew it was not going to be healthy, and now we have the documentation. And I shouldn't say documentation. We have the actual tragedies, that are starting to happen because of it.
And then we have these extremist right-wing journalists, I guess you would call them, who are contradicting what an entire board of medical professionals have determined and questioning the outcome and saying that we, the healthcare providers, are fear-mongering because we're telling the stories. And that's what my patients are hearing as well. When they come forward and they tell their story, their personal experience, they're being singled out and told that they are doing the fear-mongering. And that makes me so, so angry.
Yeah. Well, understandably so, because articles like that hide behind this notion. They put a note in there, that not everything we can't know everything about the case because, of course, there's medical privacy issues and doctor issues that are in there. So yeah, you don't get to see the entire chart, but they're using that as a convenient excuse to say, well, it could be anything else other than the ban. Much like they like to say, it could be anything but the guns. It's the guns. It's the bans. These things are not in dispute. You can claim you want to debate them, but they are not really up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, this journalist who wrote this article has no medical experience to my knowledge. And for him to publicly refute what all of these medical professionals have come together, have studied, have looked at the entire picture, and have come together with this consensus, for him to refute that, I think it's reprehensible. It's irresponsible. And again, it is literally killing people. So for me, as someone who signed up for this job because I want to take care of people, I want to help people build their families, all I can do is just shake my head and say, no, we're not doing this anymore. We've got to stand together and stand up for each other.
Well, we have to, because we live in an age now where if you don't like the science, you just claim the science is fake news. You come up with your own alternative facts. You draw with a Sharpie on a hurricane map, because you don't like where the scientists said the hurricane was going to go. And so it's incumbent upon the rest of us to say, no, actually, the people who study this should be listened to. The expert, the elites, if you will, should be listened to. And I'm glad that we have you to listen to about topics like these that keep people informed, especially given how busy you are doctoring where you are and candidating and then debating at the end of this week in your 8th congressional district race. You've got a busy week ahead.
And let's not forget my now weekly appearances on the Maggie Dawn Show at 3:30 every Thursday afternoon.
Did not know about this. Well,
that's called a plug.
Yeah, I know.
The technical term is.
Yeah.
Hear a doctor and a lawyer talk about stuff.
A doctor and a lawyer talking together? I don't know.
And they're women, and they make some men real mad.
Yes, they do. Oh, my goodness. All right, Kristen, thank you so much. Safe travels. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Have a great week, guys.
And you too.
All right, we're going to talk to Salina in just a bit about the stories that she's working on, especially how in rural school districts, the school districts are looking at, I don't want to say a new business model, but they're looking to add a little something of value that's good for the community, but also good for their own, long-term fiscal health, if you will. So Salina's going to have details on that in a second. First off, a little sports at 7:17. Well, backup quarterback Malik Willis is definitely making the most of his opportunity while filling in for Jordan Love. He's only been with the team for 4 weeks, but on Sunday he ran for a touchdown and threw for a score, leading the Packers to beat the Tennessee Titans, his former team, 30-14. He finished with 202 yards passing, 73 yards rushing. Jair Alexander scored a touchdown on his first career pick six late in the first quarter of the game. The Packers had 8 sacks, their most since getting 8 in Chicago back in 2005. They also forced 3 turnovers. The Packers now get set to return home next Sunday at noon to face the Minnesota Vikings in a division matchup. The Brewers were down 8-0 in the third inning against Arizona, but chipped away, tied, went ahead on a Jake Bauers pinch hit infield single in the 8th to win the game 10-9. It's only the third time in franchise history they've come back after being down by 8 runs. They are off today, heading to Pittsburgh for the last road trip of the regular season. All right, back with Salina Heller after this, wherever you're listening across Wisconsin on this beautiful Monday morning. When you're here, you're up north. This would be the Everly Brothers. They reunited after 10 years after a bitter breakup on this day in 1983 at the Royal Albert Hall in London. The concert would be released as a double album reunion concert. Wake Up Little Susie there again on this day in 1983. Remember, you can sign up for our daily newsletter. Head over to UpNorthNewsWI.com. So, click on subscribe in the banner at the top of the homepage, or click support, and you can make a contribution to what we do at Up North News as well. 7 a.m. bus stop temperatures look like this. It's 44 in Chippewa Falls. Hayward's at 32 in Hayward. 35 in Park Falls. Wausau's at 43. Green Bay 48. La Crosse 45. Wisconsin Rapids 42 degrees right now. Oshkosh is at 50. Madison 48. And Waukesha 48 degrees. Up North News reporter Salina Heller joins us now. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker joins us in less than 20 minutes. Salina, the story that you've been working on most recently for Up North News starts by talking about the crisis of affordable childcare options, which is everywhere, but is only exacerbated in our rural communities, which frankly, exponentially hurts a community, because if you don't have daycare, you can't attract young families. I mean, what are you going to do? More communities are becoming increasingly aware of this problem.
Oh my goodness, right. There's just no place to bring your kids, especially in rural areas. Like you said, they just have zero daycares. There's one county, I think Buffalo County, that they were telling me has no daycares at all. What do? The parents can't go to work. We'll be talking about that more as the months and weeks go on. But now it's really a kind of a creative solution that is happening in Wisconsin, and school districts are becoming part of the solution. How is that? I found that so interesting. I had no idea.
Right. Well, I mean, we're used to, we're familiar with pre-K, obviously, and kindergarten, but frankly, we're talking much more of a, starting very early situation, because they would appear to be in the best position to do this now. But that doesn't mean you open up a child care center just by snapping your fingers. As you know, it's a shortage of affordable quality child care, and that takes some steps for a school district to do.
Right. And it's the same with any daycare. You have to look for those quality people to provide quality care for everybody. I went to Western Dairyland and talked to the child care partnership director, and she oversees 10 counties in Wisconsin and helps parents find daycares for their kids. And so she has worked with all sorts of groups on this problem, and it's becoming such a problem. But she talks about the kind of the importance of having those childcare teachers, kind of a consistency with them. And that's really a big issue, because you can't have so much turnover, and that's what's happening. And she talks about this. This is Renee Ernsting.
Programs have hired 557 times. That is so terrible for children. That constant revolving different person, not building those relationships with the teachers that they need. That's a social emotional problem waiting to happen, right? Because between 0 and 5 is the most brain development that we have happening in children. And they need that stable relationship to build that trust so that they can learn in their environment. When we hire 557 times in one given year in our group programs, that is a cautionary tale. I don't know. It scares me, basically, because we know that the social emotional skills are being developed at those times. And it's really scary to think of how many people are in and out of lives right now with pandemic and all those other things that children have already just experienced. We have so many behaviors happening in very littles, and just lots of different things that are happening, later literacy rates, things like that. So we're really kind of concerned about getting a stable workforce into our group centers so that we can kind of combat some of the things that we're seeing with early childhood.
Because it's not just a matter of instability for, the kids, but also for the parents and for the providers as well. And you talked to somebody about that.
Yeah, you don't have any place to bring your kids. That's a problem. You can't go to work. But so we talked about the school district stepping in. Blair Taylor School District is one of those. They built a child care center onto their elementary school in 2021. And They have been packed ever since. They have kids just waiting to come in, and Kristen Alviker is the director there at the Blair Taylor Child Care Center. And she said, there's just so many benefits of having such a facility attached to the school because they have shared services. And she just talks about more of that.
It's just the cost of care is high, and paying our child care employees enough for that retainment piece. And then what you can charge parents, it just never adds up. It's never balanced out. And parents are only making so much at their jobs. And every time you have to raise tuition to give your staff a raise or an increase, or snack prices go up, groceries go up, so then our snack prices are higher, all that stuff adds up. And it's just hard to keep putting that cost on to parents. More funding from the state would be welcome and enjoyed, but unfortunately it's ending, so that's a struggle.
And that's where it's worth noting that Governor Tony Evers repeatedly has tried to convince the Republican-led legislature to put state money into the Child Care Accounts program to replace the federal pandemic relief money that is going away. What has been the history of Evers putting in a request and the legislature's response to it?
Oh, a few times. In the last budget proposal, there was $340 million put in there for child care accounts, which helps give salaries or just money towards daycare centers. And they removed it from the budget. And then he tried another time, and they're going to keep trying. But
I want to make sure I get the math right on this. So the governor proposed $340 million, and you're saying the legislature's response was $0.
Right. They just took it all out.
Yeah. I guess that's easy math, but not easy for the providers that have to deal with that, or for the parents, or for, like you said, the kids who are seeing this ongoing parade of providers, which takes away the stability that they so need. So come Wednesday, I think we'll talk about this in our homeroom segment as well, from a school district standpoint, as these school districts start to get creative and look at adding childcare options. What district are we going to talk to on Wednesday?
The Lincoln School District, which is Elma Center, Humbird, Maryland. That's in Jackson County, and Drew Semmingson is the superintendent there. And they have a referendum on the ballot for November to build a child care center.
Salina Heller, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. We'll hear from New Jersey Senator Cory Booker up next. You're Up North.
Yeah, I told your mama that you'd be in my tent.
All righty.
We'll see you later.
So we'll see you. Are you going to be around at 9:05, or are you scampering off?
I will be there.
All right. See you then.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Pat?
Yes.
For Cory Booker, you're introing it, right?
I'm introing, yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. And then don't forget to tell the people, vote is the word.
That's right. I got it right here. Right here.
Awesome.
Vote.
Thank you.
You're welcome. don't know what it is, if it's just the chords, the melody, the lyrics, whatever, but Deacon Blues is just always going to be on one of my top 10 lists of songs. Asia, top 10 list of albums. Asia came out this day in 1977 by Steely Dan, their sixth album. Don't forget the green and gold, go for the green or gold text to win contest is going on this hour. The word to text to us through the Civic Media app is VOTE, VOTE, which you can do on November 5th or earlier if you head to myvote.wi.gov. But text us VOTE before the end of this hour, and you will be in the running for some gold jewelry and a grand prize, which includes 2 tickets to see the Green and Gold in Green Bay on Monday, December 23rd against New Orleans. Again, VOTE is the word to text in, and then you get to play this again at 11 a.m., then 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. Such a busy weekend, and, well, every day is going to be busy for these next 6 weeks till the election. There, in the last hour, we heard from Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who was here helping out Tammy Baldwin, who's running for a third term in the U.S. Senate. They were campaigning in Lafayette and Richland counties over the weekend. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, we had a chance to talk to him heading into the weekend as he was making tracks out this way to campaign for Vice President Kamala Harris and for Tammy Baldwin as well. It was nice to hear more about life as a surrogate and the case that he's making to voters when we caught up with him heading into the weekend. Senator Booker, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm so grateful to be on. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're talking to you as you're, of course, doing a tour on behalf of Vice President Harris, but you've certainly made so many other appearances, including, here in Wisconsin on behalf of Senator Tammy Baldwin. What are you sensing on the campaign trail at this phase so far?
The energy is incredible, and I'm just so impressed. I think one of the best ways of seeing this is just the volunteers showing up at headquarters are extraordinary. I have people that are taking off from work and working full time, just going door to door. So I haven't seen this kind of enthusiasm since the Obama days, and people know what's at stake, and they all come with stories. Some people about their fears of what Donald Trump tried to do the last time and take their health care away. They know that what President Trump did as soon as he got in, he relaxed emission standards, letting corporations pour more stuff into the air, and how that affects people with asthma and emphysema. It actually raises the rates of people dying from those things. So everybody has a personal story of their why they're working so hard, but it's very inspiring for me as a guy who's going around to the swing states to hear it when I'm on the road.
So what I'm hearing from you then is that there aren't people who are flocking to the Trump-Vance message of a nation in decline and being overrun by immigrants and things like that.
I think that those fear tactics and scare tactics, and frankly, some really just rank xenophobia and bigotry towards immigrants hasn't sold in America. Now, we know that there have been times, I don't know, for those who are history buff like me, the Know Nothing Party in the 1850s was an entire party that came up as an anti-immigration party, using a lot of the same language they're using against Haitians, where then they were using the same language against Italians and Irish and Jewish immigrants. It's stunning to me when I was recently looking at the same fears and worries that were being whipped up by opportunist politicians who were trying to exploit people's pain and struggle and point the finger at immigrants. And so I hope this doesn't sell in a way that attracts more people to it. In fact, I think this is a chance for us to reject that kind of negativity, othering, demeaning, and degrading politics, and really be about the politics of uniting, politics of empowering people, politics who knows who we are, a nation of immigrants, and speaks about how to create a safe, legal immigration system that serves everybody.
I sometimes wonder if this kind of talk that they're engaged in is a way to distract from policy, and specifically the policy that is listed in Project 2025, page after page after page. Now, you've mentioned healthcare, we've talked about reproductive rights, but when you're speaking on the stump to folks on behalf of the vice president and others, what is it that you're telling folks about the potential policy in Project 2025 that would come if Trump were to win another term?
I mean, it says in no uncertain terms that they want to tear down the administration. And this means that they want to attack government agencies that we may not know that we rely on them, but we do. So when you attack the FDA, you're attacking their efforts on food safety. When you're politicizing people that are literally making sure that we have officials that are supervising your food to make sure there's no pathogens in it and more. When they say they want to tear down the Department of Education, that means all the work that's being done to help disabled children or children with autism get the kind of resources they need, or just making sure that the kind of technology and innovation that we see that being funded through some of our science grants are in rural high schools. I could go on and on through Project 2025. When I read that document, I realized what they wanted to do, which is further swing our country to the extremes that we're heading towards, where you have a small group of really rich people that are getting more and more, not just economic power, but political power, and struggling communities that are looking for help and support, safety regulations to be protected against the big guy who always often wants to take advantage of the little guy or gal, to have those kind of protections. So I know this from being in Washington for the 4 years of Trump, and the kind of things that don't capture headlines, the kind of education grants that go to rural schools, cut. The kind of resources that go to people that try to afford higher education, cut. The kind of admissions that polluters are putting out there, relaxed, and allowed them to do more. The kind of tax breaks to the wealthiest grew. The kind of protections for labor, for unions were relaxed. The kind of protections to make sure that people aren't being screwed over at the job or having their wage theft or hour theft. Those kind of regulators were gotten rid of. So for me, the things that often people don't think about, unfortunately, are the kind of things that Donald Trump and his team are scheming about now, and you see in Project 2025.
And yet, we are now staring down another potential government shutdown because of House Republicans. What would be the significance of it? And I doubt that you and Mitch McConnell agree on very much, but perhaps his line that this is politically beyond stupid?
Yeah, it is because of what it does to our overall economy. And shutdowns cost us hundreds of billions of dollars in terms of economic growth and prosperity. Not only does the government shutdown freeze a lot of these government agencies that protect our food, that pay our veterans and more, but frankly, it is just economically dumb. And I'm not exaggerating. Our adversaries out there, the Chinese and the Russians, literally point fingers at us all the time when we do things like this about why democracies don't work. They think we should have authoritarian governments, and they're working to undermine ours. So the kind of chaos in the Republican Party, the right wing, that can't seem to elect a speaker or can't seem to pass a budget. This is the chaos that Donald Trump wants to bring back into the White House, where you see this lurches towards extremism, whether it's our Supreme Court with extreme members there that make decisions that are against the majority of the interests of American people, whether it's the extremism of the House of Representatives, who keeps putting out stuff from their Republican think tank that would cut Social Security and cut Medicaid or Medicare. This is what we have to remember when we're in the polling place and voting.
And now you're hearing exactly why New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is out there hustling around Wisconsin and other states on behalf of Vice President Harris and on behalf of Senator Tammy Baldwin. Senator Cory Booker, thank you so much for your time. It was a great pleasure to talk with you today.
It was a great pleasure to talk to you, and even more so to have a chance to engage with your listeners. Thank you very much.
We would have usually filled the whole 15-minute segment there, but as you could tell, we didn't have the greatest reception. And U.S. senators, as we learned from talking to Elizabeth Warren and others, they are notorious for having schedules that, shall we say, don't run with the precision you'd like to see of a finely tuned railroad. But we were happy to get a few minutes with Senator Booker and find out more about life as a surrogate and how he views the issues in the race. There's somebody else who's looking at the issues in this race and looking at the issues of January 6th. And he says he just wants to raise some questions. But by raising some questions, I think what the owner of Robert Hack Diamonds is actually trying to do is raise some doubts about what happened on January 6th, 2001. A story in the Journal Sentinel from Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reporter Ricardo Torres says Robert Hack Diamond's owner raises questions about January 6th Capitol riot in a newspaper ad. And it says that Brett Uhlberg, owner of Robert Hack Diamonds, has entered the debate by running an ad on Sunday that he says raises questions about what happened at the Capitol. Specifically, it says, ask yourself before voting, why was the Capitol Police ordered not to use tear gas on January 6, 2021? Well, the ad, as the article points out here, makes no mention of the House Select Committee on the attack, which interviewed more than 1,000 people, published an 845-page report, and laid the blame squarely at the feet of President Donald Trump for lying about losing the 2020 election. Trump has continued to lie since then about the activities of January 6th. And it would appear to me that after we all saw what we saw with our own eyes, heard with our ears from Donald Trump, when we understand the number of law enforcement officers who were beaten, tortured, maimed, died during or afterwards, when we think of the more than 1,000 people who participated in the riot, the arrests, the court cases that have gone from there, there doesn't seem to be very much to raise questions about. The answers to your questions are out there. The answer, the question for me is, do you want to believe them? And, facts are stubborn things. What's the little line? Facts don't care what you believe. The facts are what they are on the ground and in the memos and the voicemails and the conversations and the testimony. That was an attempted coup on January 6th. And while many people don't want to believe it, but would believe it if it had been a Democrat instead of a Republican, doesn't make any less true what happened that day. Now, it is a national tragedy that so many people are still willing to support somebody who tried to overturn an election, who tried to overturn their vote, who basically tried to overthrow the government, and embrace somebody who has said that he is ready to be a dictator on day one, and who has a plan. I mean, that was an 845-page report from the January 6th committee. Project 2025 was like, hold my beer. Here's over 900 pages of what we would do in a second Trump term. And Trump can say, well, I had nothing to do with that. But when it's written by, I was going to say a truckload, when it's written by a dumpster full of, former aides, employees, supporters, partners, things like that, it really doesn't take much to see that the plan to overthrow the kind of government that we've enjoyed in this country, that plan is alive and well, and in the candidacy of Donald Trump. And that there is, as we've talked about here before, still that threat of violence and violent rhetoric that is hanging over us. Currently, Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, is spewing that rhetoric that he knows to be false about Springfield, Ohio. But throughout the country, there are concerns about political violence because Trump and J.D. Vance will not say or do nearly enough to tell people that that is wrong and that they are to respect the results of a free and fair election, just as they were free and fair in 2020. And so a business owner can take out all the newspaper ads that he wants and raise all the questions and try to fuel all the doubts. But it's more incumbent upon the rest of us who can't afford newspaper ads, but who can afford to, go get our ballot and fill it out either on November 5th or earlier. It's incumbent upon all of us to say, look, we've got our own eyes and ears. We know the facts. We know what Donald Trump has done. We know what Donald Trump would do. That does not make Kamala Harris a perfect choice, but it does mean there's one choice that's for democracy, and there's one choice that would take us down a path of authoritarianism. No questions about that. We'll be back with more right after this. You're Up North.
All night long.
turn things over now to Greg Bach, who's got a beret and a cigarette. He's next to the microphone now with his jazz saxophonist to tell us more about his favorite jazz saxophonist.
This is the song Mr. PC from the album Giant Steps by John Coltrane, who is our birthday boy, actually. It's birthday today.
That's right. I've got friends who are such fans of Coltrane that they named one of their pups Coltrane. A little
Love
pug.
it.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, much loved, much beloved, and was born this day in, he says, scrolling quickly to see if he can find it, 1926, 98 years ago. Terry Bell, by the way, is normally here on Mondays. Terry's off today, so I'll just say the three things that you need to know this week are listen to his Civic Media news team throughout the course of the day. The second thing would be to listen to more of his colleagues throughout the course of the day and listen to Terry Bell's colleagues for more news throughout the day.
What a plug.
I know. I should write these things for a living. Well, I could write these things, but could definitely not make a living about it. So in looking at some of the other headlines that we might be talking about, next Sunday is going to be the World Day of Migrants and Refugees. And in anticipation of that, a letter has been written by the Catholic Conference of Ohio. That would include bishops from Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, Toledo, Youngstown, Canton, and more. All of these bishops signed the letter ahead of World Day of Migrants and Refugees to criticize their senator, Ohio's J.D. Vance, and asking the public to treat Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, with respect and dignity, and warned against unfounded gossip and scapegoating. They write, "Today our nation is divided by partisanship and ideology, which blind us to the image of God in our neighbor, especially the unborn, the poor, and the stranger. These negative sentiments are only exacerbated by gossip, which can spread quickly across social media with no concern for the truth of those involved." As noted by an article in the Columbus Dispatch, Haitian immigrants living in Springfield were thrust into the national spotlight when prominent conservative figures, most notably former President Donald Trump and Vance, began spreading unfounded rumors that immigrants were eating pets and wildlife. It led to a flood of threats, bomb threats and others. Evacuations were sometimes needed. Events were canceled. And it was against this backdrop that Ohio's Catholic bishops asked people to recognize the infinite dignity of immigrants and integrate the newcomers into the social fabric of Ohio. Like all people, the bishops write, these Haitians should be afforded the respect and dignity that are theirs by right and allow the ability to contribute to the common good. J.D. Vance, who converted to Catholicism in adulthood, said he does not regret spreading the baseless claims because they brought attention to the issue of immigration. You'll recall he said famously a week ago, "If I have to create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do." But again, that's scapegoating. That's admitting that you're making up stories. That is, at its base, race baiting. To say that the problems of a society can be put on the people who don't look like us, the people who don't maybe speak like us or worship like us, the people who are taking these, crappy jobs that we won't do, but we're going to complain about the ones who are doing the job if we have to see them around the neighborhood. We're seeing something like that similarly in the Eau Claire area. And it was no coincidence that J.D. Vance came here to the Eau Claire area recently, where a group has been working to help refugees resettle from the Congo in Africa, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where, again, an area torn by civil war and violence, and where people, much like in Central America, trying to get away from gangs and violence, simply want to work and have a better life, just like your great-grandparents did. And they came through the system as it was at the time, not as it is now, And that is happening with refugees from the Congo. And of course, comes the inevitable pushback that there's a lack of transparency that says, well, we should get some kind of a say in who comes to our town. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's the same mentality that said, well, we should get a say in whether blacks can live on our street, or whether the Irish can live in our neighborhood, or whether the Italians can come to this community. It is no different. We have freedom of movement in this country. Now, that's not to say that you can't make somebody's life a living hell when they decide to come here. That is what happened to the Irish and to the Italians and to the Hmong to some degree, and to folks coming here now from places like Somalia. But that's on you. And there's now a group of Catholic bishops that are reminding you of the inherent wealth of immigrants, and the rest of us reminding you that people are always going to move to places where they can be more free, where they can work hard. And if we can't have that in our hearts, and if we can't have that in the hearts of our candidates, then what are we losing as a nation? And let's keep that in mind as we all go to vote, because voting is now underway. Tomorrow on the program, Julie Lassa from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Rural Development. She's the Wisconsin director for that, and my former colleague in the legislature. And we will be talking more about the investments of the Biden-Harris administration into Wisconsin's rural economy. Mr. Bach will be back at 10 o'clock for Matt and Air on Air. What's happening there?
Indeed, we got 10:30 with with Matt Randolph, aka Mr. Global, talking about oil and gas, and former Assistant Secretary from the Defense Department, Dr. Mara Carlin, talking about debates. And not to mention, we have our keyword at 11 o'clock for the Go for the Greener Gold.
So much going on. So thank you for joining us here for Up North News Radio on this beautiful Monday. See you tomorrow.